What would you say is the problem that you're trying to solve?
So a lot of founders and new CEOs don't always know how to grow and scale their business. And that's really scary, right? So I come in and I provide them with the right partnerships and the right tools, as well as the right strategies to come in and grow their business, especially if they're a venture-backed business.
Nice, I love that. Let me get some photos of you right here. Was there ever a time in your own entrepreneurial journey that you felt kind of overwhelmed?
Oh my gosh, all the time, every single day. But that's what I mean, right? That's part of being an entrepreneur. And I think that unless you are prepared for that overwhelm, you shouldn't do it. But my logic here was also, as somebody who's kind of overachieving, highly ambitious, etc., I know that no matter what I do, even if that was working for myself or work for a company, I would always be overwhelmed. I'd always be wanting to overperform. And maybe that's a problem, I will admit. But I think the logic in my entrepreneurship journey was more so in the sense that if I'm going to be doing this for a company, I can do this for myself. And I'm always going to bet on myself because I know I got me. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You're going to experience it either way. So might as well do something that you care about.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I know what I've been able to produce for other people and for other companies. What happens when I put that same energy into something I'm passionate about? I think that was the logic there.
Nice. I love that. Let me get some photos of you right over here. Yeah. What do you think is something that founders undervalue?
Honestly, I think it's marketing themselves. As a founder, your main goal is your company. And I get it. You want to grow your company, you want to scale your company. You're trying to make a brand for your company. But in this day and age and in this market, especially if you're a founder who is fundraising, whether that's through private equity or VC, having a brand for yourself is super important as well. And that doesn't necessarily mean having hundreds of thousands of followers. Well, it can. Just also creating a brand of, what you're known for and what people can rely on you. So having thought leadership pieces is extremely valuable. And this is where I think posting on LinkedIn can be super beneficial, especially as a founder. If you're a founder and not posting on LinkedIn, you're sleeping on yourself, and don't do that. So LinkedIn is a super easy platform for you to kind of blow up on. So post on LinkedIn as much as you can. And literally it could be about anything. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful. It is true. People want to know that they can trust you before even reaching out to you.
That is the cornerstone of business and entrepreneurship. It comes down to relationships. Everything about entrepreneurships and building a business comes down to relationships. Those are my 2 cents. Yes.
Let me get some photos of you right over here. What would you say is the one skill set that every founder should have?
I don't think there's one skill set per se. I think that every founder should know their strengths and how to complement those strengths with whatever their weaknesses are. And that's when you hire in a team, right? But I do think that a skill that would complement a founder is soft skills, simply because asking how a person's day is could go such a long way. And this is helpful in building other partnerships and building your team, as well as building relationships with investors.
Nice, I love that. Let me get some photos right over here. What is the biggest mistake that founders make when it comes to operations?
Depends on the stage of the founder. I think depending on if the founder is at their seed stage or even pre-seed stage, is trying to bring on too many people too soon and burning through cash. Don't do that. And as you continue to grow and progress with your team, just bringing in the right people to really take care of the things that you don't know how to do. That's really the essence of building a team and handling your operations, but also knowing how you can cut down on those costs, on those operating costs by, having the right partnerships, right? This is where my partnership with TriNet makes sense for my company. This is where my partnership with Interlace makes sense with my company, where you have these teams of people who are specialized in whether that's HR or IT, etc., to come in and help you cut down on some of those operational costs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Finding partners. Do you have any strategies for finding partners?
I think working with consulting companies like Simran Nath LLC, that's a big bonus for that. Mm-hmm. I think, of course, asking your network, asking around who is trusted advisor. And if you're a founder, asking your advisors, right? Like this is where your advisory board comes in handy. Don't forget that. And something else that I'll say is your investors want to see you win. I know it's scary, but I can guarantee you from the venture side, your investors want to see you win. So don't be afraid to ask them questions.
Yeah, that's very true. Let me get some photos of you right over here.
Sure.
What tips do you have for founders who are growing but wanting to stay authentic to who they are?
Interesting. I find that question interesting. I believe that authenticity is the key and is the way. I know it's a harder route, but again, if you're in alignment, then you're being authentic. If you find yourself being inauthentic and that's because of the environment that you're in or the people that you're around, I think you need to remove yourself from that environment, situation, etc. So I think as a founder, if you find that your co-founder is inauthentic, that's something to assess, right? Probably assess long before they become your co-founder. Similarly with if you're looking for investors, if the investor's thesis seems inauthentic to what you're trying to build, there's a lot more money out there, right? Remember that. I think that authenticity can mean so many different ways. And I know when you're being ambitious, there's things that you want to achieve, but stay true to yourself. And this means knowing your values and understand what you're rooted in. Yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
Yeah, that is true. Staying true to your values makes such a big difference. And then I feel like you enjoy the process more if you're doing that as well.
Exactly. 'Cause it's all about alignment.
That's a great word, alignment.
Yeah.
Let me get some photos right over here. What's one thing that you wish more people knew about entrepreneurship?
That it's not easy. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. And that is one of the bigger mistakes that I made. I wish I had set more of a financial safety net for myself before starting this journey. And, it takes time to get it lifted off the ground, but you're going to learn so much about yourself. And the entrepreneurship journey on its own is absolutely the best self-development journey you'll ever go on. So from that perspective, it's a high risk, high reward type of career, but so are some of the best things in life. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautifully said. Let me get some photos right over here. What is something that you're proud of yourself for?
I don't know. I think believing in myself. I think allowing, it's learning how to say no. I think saying no to all the wrong things open the doors to all the right things across personal and professional life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to know how to set boundaries.
Yeah, personally and professionally, right? So from the professional standpoint, you learn how to negotiate better. You learn what your terms are. You're not coming and seeing what people are going to offer you. You're coming from a perspective of this is what it means to work with me. Can you meet me or not? And if not, then you know how to navigate accordingly. So and apply that same theory personally. Know your standards.
I guess I do have kind of a follow-up question is what is the mindset shift that made the biggest difference for you?
Oh, that's such a good question. Understanding that I have my own agency. And I think that wasn't something that a lot of us are taught or a lot of us know, but yeah, you're the author of your own life. Remember that every single day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Let me get the photos right over here. What would you say is your deeper why?
I'm from Fiji and I grew up in a culture. I love my culture, but I grew up in a culture that, was not so encouraging of entrepreneurship, wasn't too encouraging of women to kind of be more independent and on their own. And I always fought against that. And I think it's through that rebellion, I'd say, that I've learned so much about self-worth, about the self-development journey, and in turn about entrepreneurship and how that's fueled my entrepreneurship journey. So when I see founders, I see people who are extremely driven and people who have a dream that they want to see come true. And being around that energy is absolutely amazing. And understanding that minority founders have a harder time going up this uphill battle is something that I understand personally. So if I'm able to help them achieve their dreams while also providing them the conscious support that I understand and have gone through, then I think I'm doing something right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When you understand the problem more personally, you're able to talk to them in a way that really helps move them.
Exactly.
Awesome. Look at the photos right here.